Welcome to Free Discourse Radio. My name is Frank Davey. There's going to be some noise in the background because I'm driving. I got a 20-minute drive to a concert in Warwick, Rhode Island, seeing a friend play. So it should be fun, but I'm going to do this quick commentary while we're going. I want to talk about some of the... ooh, that's not a good sound. I want to talk about Bill Maher and some other leading liberal commentators that seem to get a kick out of blaming everyone outside their party, and which is the Democrats, of course. They seem to get a kick out of telling people, guilting people about the way they voted, whether they were Trump or third party. Now, Bill Maher's entire season so far on HBO has been about Trump bashing. Now, there's plenty to criticize the administration for so far. I know that for a fact, but blaming voters and blaming progressives or people who have dissented from the Democratic Party, I don't see that as something that can help us in this situation. People voted the way they did is because they didn't trust Hillary Clinton, and the way she, whether it was from treating Bernie Sanders like crap during the campaign, and basically screwing him out of that. We know that because of the WikiLeaks things that dropped by with the DNC emails and John Podesta. As much as they want us to forget about that, that is still a fact. It doesn't even matter if WikiLeaks is working with the Russians or not. It's still the emails are still real. Now, there's a lot of questions around. I know some people are saying maybe Seth Rich, the DNC leaker that recently got murdered in Washington, D.C., might have something to do with the leaks, or somebody else. I don't know. But that's not what I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about mostly is how there seems to be a trend in the liberal news to guilting people and shaming people into voting for their candidates that promote social justice and all kinds of things like that. They promote unity when actually their rhetoric is divisive in nature. Anyone who is a Trump voter or is someone who voted maybe Green Party candidate Jill Stein or for Gary Johnson are basically called out to being, in a way, one word can be used to describe it would be stupid. And it seems to be a popular thing to make fun of them and to blame them for the reason why the country is so bad today, which I really don't see that, honestly. The suggestion that Hillary Clinton wouldn't have gotten us into this and wouldn't have gotten us into that, I don't see how that helps us at all. And on top of that, too, it's not like you can. We know for sure what Hillary would be doing right now. We could be at war with Iran for all we know. We know that she wanted to take a more aggressive stance on the Middle East and on Syria. So I find it very funny, honestly, and not for good reasons, unfortunately. As much as Bill Maher is funny, he has been pretty. I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to him so far. You know, I listen to a lot of people from across the whole spectrum of political philosophy. But Bill Maher was one of those people that I would be interested in listening to, not only because of his jokes, but also the people that he brings on his show to talk to. But again, that has lapsed as well. He's bringing on shills constantly. People who are apologizing for Hillary. People who are blaming the right wing, the quote-unquote right wing, far right, or whatever they're calling it these days, for the grievance. They're blaming them for the grievances that. They're blaming them for Hillary Clinton not being elected, and they don't take into consideration any of the grievances that voters had for her campaign. I think it's a no-brainer, really, to not trust her. You know, if you do, I don't blame you. Maybe you see her as the lesser of two evils. If you're someone that thinks she's totally innocent and totally an angel in this case, I don't know where the hell you've been, but that's certainly not the case. We know that there's many dealings and many things that she does and her husband has supported, like big business and corporatism, and people are sick of that. They don't want to see just a little bit of people at the top benefiting from her policies and for the policies of her husband. They want the middle class to be healthy. They want the working class to be healthy. They want their jobs to stay in the U.S. They want to be allowed to go around and open their own businesses and as they see fit instead of having to rely on the government. I don't know. Bill Maher, he's making it a kind of a theme of his show to bash progressives and particularly millennial voters, which is I know there's a lot of millennials that are insufferable, but generalizing an entire generation of people, the people that are going to be the future of this country, and shaming them into voting for your corrupt politicians is beyond ridiculous. And no one should expect millennials today to support those candidates. I don't see how she really was any worse than what Trump is giving us. Two different approaches, of course, to what they're doing. But as you can see now, both neoconservatives and neoliberals are trying to get Trump to play ball, and I think he's starting to play ball a little bit. So I'm not even sure we're going to we might start seeing more of the same that we've been seeing through the past 3 to 4 administrations that have been overwhelmingly controlled by neoliberals and neoconservatives. And yes, I do think Obama was more neoliberal. He ran his campaign on change and on progressive values, and many people were turned on to that, but he did not deliver that in his presidency. He overwhelmingly supported big business and many of the shills and people that are donating to him or that supported him during his campaign. These are attitudes that people are sick of seeing in this country. They want a much more comprehensive look at policy. They want people to focus, their officials to focus on growing the middle class and maintaining our economic security for the future. I think it's of most importance to worry about our economic future, not just the social issues. Because the more they're going to have to be careful. Bill Maher and others, they have to be careful because if they continue to just support these corrupt candidates and to support the policies that we've been seeing for the last couple decades, there is going to be a shift so far right that they don't even Trump is going to look like a cakewalk compared to that. That's concerning to me. I am not far right or most people that they see that they're calling far right aren't actually far right. They may be more conservative, or even more religious conservative, like Mike Pence and his crew. But they are not Nazis. To say frankly, I find it ridiculous that they continue to run on the narrative of that it's the voters' fault for the reason why Hillary Clinton didn't get elected. She isn't entitled to the presidency. She isn't entitled to any kind of position. What she has to do is prove to the voters and to her constituents that she is going to stand up for them in Washington, D.C. That is what the voters are expecting from her. And she did not really, despite the fact she won the popular vote by 3 million, she did not convince enough people in the South and in the Bible Belt regions, of course, where their problems are just as legitimate as anybody else's. I really don't like the rhetoric that's being used. Now I know they have the right. I'm not going to say that I want to censor them or anything like that. But their shaming and their guilting it's not going to bring confidence back in the voting population. I mean, more people have been. There have been more people disenfranchised from politics than I think I've ever heard in this country, in my lifetime at least. I mean, I've only been around for 23 years, so who knows? But it's definitely not good. The discourse is hurt right now. The discourse is censored. People don't seem to be as enthusiastic to talk about the issues anymore, especially ones that are much more controversial. The controversial issues are the ones that we need to be talking about. We shouldn't be paying no heed to that and finding more politically correct topics to talk about. I don't think any of the policies that the left wing puts forward right now are solidified and a done deal. Like it's their way or the highway. I don't think that's the case. I think there's arguments to be made on both sides, whether it's healthcare or migrants, the economy, socialism versus free market. All of that. But I think it's concerning that many pundits are finding it funny, and a lot of these people are millionaires themselves. They're in a whole different class. So I find it very, very condescending that they blame voters, especially younger voters who are still learning the political process, and are still learning what the world is all about and what our country is all about. It's not healthy. Like putting candidates forward like Hillary Clinton. I mean, she did. Maybe she won fair and square. Maybe not. I don't. Like, if people vote for her, then okay, that's legitimate. But many people were not satisfied with her, and she did not win the election because of that. It is her fault. It is not. I mean, not actually. It's not even just her fault. It's her whole wing of the Democratic Party, the neoliberals, and what they've done over the last since Bill Clinton's presidency. This is the thing that people are having a problem with. It's not. It's not that it's misogyny or the millennial voters are burning or bust and college students who are entitled, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Many of them don't, to be honest with you. But I mean, I'm there at college, so and I hear it all. I hear shit all the time. But that doesn't mean that you disparage those voters and insult them and guilt them for not voting for your corrupt candidate. It's bullshit. Like, complete bullshit. It's actually unbelievable that that people like Bill Maher are getting away with this without any form of scrutiny or any form of, well, there's plenty of criticism to go around. But it's troubling to me. I fear for 2018 and 2020 how the discourse is going to be affected even more. I mean, I'm an optimist by nature. You know, I think that we will figure things out. I think the internet and the technology we have now to communicate has provided us with even more outlets to look up news and to read things than ever before. We don't have to rely on cable news media anymore. We don't have to rely on newspaper media anymore. We can rely on independent people who care about the country and who are not tied down by money and by politics. They come out. They make their own radio stations, and like I'm doing here. And they do their due diligence. They tell the truth. Many of them. Some don't, of course. You're going to find people that don't. But you got to be careful with what you find on the internet. The internet's a cesspool. There's a lot of shit, and there's a lot of well, I guess in a cesspool there's only shit. But but if you sift through it, you can find many good things and many informative things that can give you a better idea of how the world is going right now. And people are seeing it. There are people shifting towards American conservatism because they see that as the only bastion of free speech and of free political expression. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. The Democrats are not supporting people anymore. They are supporting only the big money. And this goes for the Republicans as well. I have to say that they are not innocent in that regard either. But in conclusion here, Bill Maher and all the progressive pundits or liberal pundits, whatever label you want to use for them, I think they're full of shit right now. I don't know why there's been a shift away from truth and towards Trump bashing, but it's happening across the entire media apparatus in our nation. CNN's coverage, MSNBC's coverage has been mostly negative regarding Trump. People are not aware of the good things that Trump has done so far, which I'll go over in another segment. But they're only receiving negative news, which is increasing the fervor of hating Trump. It's not healthy for us, and I think in the end we might. Well, I think in the end we will end up being much better. I think we will defeat the legacy media, and many of the people are waking up to this by the droves. This election was proof of that. But I mean, Bill Maher, he can keep bringing on his shills. He can keep talking shit. He can keep guilting people. The response they're going to receive is going to blow them away. That's, this is a predictable thing when people are oppressed by big money and big politics. There's always a right-wing shift. They'll support a populist candidate, and we've already had that happen. Trump was a populist candidate, but we may have, if Trump plays ball and supports neoconservative policies, we're going to see something much worse than this, I think, in the future, potentially. I don't want to, say it's for sure, but So, that's what I conclude about Bill Maher and all of his shills that he brings on. Thank you for listening to Free Discourse Radio. I will see you soon.